So today I have a general presentation of Celayix's scheduling platform. I'll be taking you through a couple of different modules. The first one, which you see in front of you, is called Team Express. This is the mobile app that allows our customers' employees to engage with the schedule and the scheduler. It can be accessed either directly on the computer. So this is how it looks on my laptop. But I'll be demoing it today in the mobile version because I'd say the majority of our customers have their employees accessing this directly on their smartphones. Now, two of the things I always like to mention with Celayix before I even start the demo is one, it's incredibly easy to use. So ease of use is a huge concern of ours. And obviously, when you're giving employees new technology, we want to make it as easy to use as possible. So the employees themselves won't need any training on this. If they can navigate something like an iPhone, they can get through this. You're just scrolling up and down, and you have the menu buttons along the bottom. The other thing I like to mention is Celayix is extremely configurable. So we work in a number of different industries. This particular demo is configured for a security company who's scheduling armed guards who are working patrols at different sites, but we work in a number of different industries such as healthcare, hospitality, manufacturing, construction. So because of that, Celayix has to be extremely flexible in the way that we actually configure the system. So we see here, right when the employee opens up their phone, they're going to see the dashboard. It's going to give them all the relevant information about their upcoming shift. We see that they have a shift today, September 29th, from 8 to 4, and the details are listed below. As I mentioned before, we can configure this depending on the industry differently. So we have just standard information here listed for the employee, such as the scheduled start time of the shift, the break duration, the customer, in this case, it's Walmart. The site that they're working at or the location where they're performing the work is the Turkey Lake Walmart location. And then the service or the job that's being performed is that of an armed guard. We can change these headers if we'd like. If we're working in a different industry, such as home health care, for example, maybe instead of customer, we would have the client listed here. So an individual's name. The site, we could have the client's residence. So you could have their actual address listed here. And then instead of service, you could have something like job. If there's any particular information you want to convey to your employee who's working the shift, you can just add that here in the notes column. And you can also add in your own custom rules, custom rows actually as well. By far the most common is just using the app. So you're simply swiping here to clock in. Other ways that we can clock employees in are by using physical time clocks. So they can go up to actual terminals where they're punching in a key code or swiping a key card or using their thumbprint to clock in on the hardware. We can also have supervisors clock people in. We see that more and more in events and venues when you have a lot of people coming to work a certain event and the supervisor is just there with his iPad clocking people in as they come. And then in areas where there's not good cell reception, we also allow employees to clock in on landlines. So they would go over to the phone, dial a number, and clock themselves in on the phone. Like I mentioned, the most common way is definitely through the app. And one of the ways that our customers get a lot of value out of the system is by using geofencing. This eliminates things like time fraud. So if employees want to clock in successfully, they have to actually clock in within the geofence location. When we're creating a site, we can decide how large or small we want that geofence perimeter to be, and the employees have to be within that circle in order to successfully clock in. So you don't have employees clocking in when they're rolling out of bed or on their way to work. They have to be on site. And if we link this up with a payroll platform, then we're ensuring that accurate time and attendance data is sent from our platform over to payroll. So you're only paying employees when they're actually on site. We also have a number of activities that we can track during the employee's shift. So tasks can be listed here. As the employee goes through their shift, they can check off the various tasks that have been completed. And those are always going to be time-stamped and documented in the system. So you can always go back to previous shifts and see exactly when different tasks were completed. Employees can also add tasks if they want to add additional tasks to their list. And they can also take notes. So let's say I'm a security guard, I'm working at the Walmart, and a window gets broken. I could take out my phone, write a little caption explaining what happened, and I could even take a photo and upload the photo to the notes using this clipboard button, so everything is documented. We can also collect signatures. So this is used differently depending on the industry. One area where we see it being used a lot is in home healthcare, where an employee will go to a client's residence, perform care, and then they can get signed out by the client or the client's guardian just by the client signing on the employee's phone. Again, you can submit that and save that for later, and then you have the paper trail confirming that the care was delivered. Just moving along the bottom here. So this is the schedule window. This is where employees are going to see their upcoming shifts. We don't just give employees shifts and hope that they're going to show up to work. There's a two-way street of communication involved, whereas the scheduler will assign you a shift. That particular employee is immediately alerted, and the alerts are always going to be sent through the app, but they can also be forwarded through SMS text message or email. And we can even take that one step further as well. So if the scheduler wants the employee to confirm the shifts that have been assigned to him, we can have them go in here and confirm. So right here it says one action is needed. I've been given a shift tomorrow on Saturday, and I'm being asked by my scheduler to go in here and confirm that. So I can press confirm all, indicating that I'll be able to work this shift. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment on the scheduling side of things. You get a little blue check mark beside the name of the employee that has confirmed the shift. One feature that a lot of our customers use and get a lot of value out of is self-scheduling. So with self-scheduling, essentially the scheduler has open shifts. Maybe they're not sure who to assign to those open shifts, and they can push those open shifts out to their team of qualified employees, and the employees themselves can come onto our platform and pick up shifts that work for their schedule. I'm gonna make this a bit larger so it's easier to see, but you'll see as the employee, I've selected a date range to see all the different shifts that I'm qualified to work within that date range. And here we have the date of the shift code, the location of the shift, the customer that we're working for, and the service that's going to be provided. And we could add other information in here as well if we'd like. As the employee, I can now come in here and choose the shifts that work for my schedule and press schedule me, in which case I'll be immediately put onto the schedule. This is seen a lot in hospitality and hotels where we're scheduling people for events and banquets, where we can push out literally thousands of shifts. Employees are immediately notified. They jump on their phone or on their computer and pick up the shifts, and thousands of shifts can be scheduled within a matter of minutes using this method. We've also found some unintended consequences of this. For example, employees have much better morale when they're able to come in here and pick up shifts that work for their busy lives. And we've also found that this cuts down on turnover as well, because especially in a lot of these industries that we're working in, employees are working other jobs, and employees want to stay at an area or a job where they can go in and pick up their own shifts and create their own schedules. And the great thing about this is they're essentially doing the scheduling for you. So all the scheduler is actually doing is pushing out the open shifts to the team of qualified employees. Now, there's of course going to be rules in here, so employees can only pick up shifts that they're qualified for. For example, if I was not qualified to be an armed guard at Best Buy, this wouldn't even be an option for me to look at. It's also going to abide by overtime rules, so I'm not going to be able to go and pick up 80 hours worth of shifts within the week. Whatever my overtime limit is will stop me. And of course, I'm not going to be able to double book myself. Now, some customers, they need to have a bit more control over the self-scheduling process, so they do something called shift bidding. Essentially, with shift bidding, it's the same kind of idea. You have open shifts, you push them out to your team of qualified employees, but instead of a first come, first serve model of picking up shifts, they have a window of time to go and submit bids. So with shift bidding, you would choose the shifts you want to work. Instead of pressing schedule me, you would press bid for shift. And those bids go into whatever supervisor or scheduler is in charge of staffing those shifts. That individual can then look through the shifts. They can sort them based on things like seniority or qualifications or the amount of hours work, and then deliver the shifts to whoever they think should work those shifts. We can even have the computer run through all the different bids for shifts and then decide who to give it to based on the rules that we tell the computer. We have availability built into the system, so employees can go in here and submit their availability. They can also manage time off requests, so they can see how much time off they have remaining, and they can make new time off requests and track those requests to see if they've been approved or not. Within timesheets, employees can see their past shifts and when they clocked in, when they clocked out, and all the details of the different tasks that they performed on that shift. And they can even go in here and add a new shift. So if they have to create an ad hoc shift that they were not initially scheduled for, they can do that right here. And then they can also see their time cards, so they can see a breakdown of the amount of hours that they're working within a given week, so they know what to expect when payday comes around. We have built-in messaging, so they can communicate with their team. And then within the account settings, I won't get too far into this, but some useful tools are the notifications. So I mentioned that anytime a shift is moved or deleted or updated, or a new shift is put out for self-scheduling or shift bidding that an employee is qualified for, they will receive an alert directly on this app, but they can also have those alerts forwarded through email, text, or a combination of all three.